Talk, you big stinky stupid.
Gynecologist. So you're telling me you went to school and got a degree in pussy?
That's pretty good. I've got a fart. Should I do it at the top of the episode?
Yeah, I'll get out of the blast zone. Oh, this is tiny. That was not impressive. I'm still gonna stand over here though, because Ben's farts are notoriously stonky. Welcome to the Temporary Uncles podcast, where we make stupid noises at each other for 90 minutes.
Aren't you going to tell me who you are? I've been waiting all day. You just turn up at my house, and I'm thinking, who is this guy?
Who is this gay?
Yeah. What?
I am Uncle Number One.
And I'm quite full.
Yeah, we had a big lunch.
I took Nick to our local kebab shop, and I gave him his first halal snack pack.
I mean, yeah, and it makes it sound like, oh, it's a revelation. I've never had a combination of lamb, chicken, and chips before.
We hadn't.
I mean, I've had.
That's the whole point.
I've had the three. Like, I've never had. It makes it sound like I've never had lamb, chicken, and chips and barbecue sauce before.
At various points in your life, you've consumed them, and inside of you they formed the HSP that lives inside all of us.
Yeah, but now today I've had them all once for lunch, and even a small-sized halal snack pack was pretty filling for me.
Oh yeah.
So I ate about like 2/3 of it, and then I gave the rest to Dylan.
It's a pretty ridiculous meal. It's all highly processed, like, because they have.
The name halal snack pack makes it sound like, one, it's going to be more, for lack of a better word, ethnic, and two, that it'll probably be like healthier.
Yeah,
but it's literally just fast food, chips, sliced beef, which
not beef,
lamb, sliced lamb, which was very nice.
Yeah,
and like. Just bits of chicken. The lamb was much better than the chicken. And then just doused in various sauces of your choosing. I just had barbecue sauce because that's the sauce I like the most.
That's the one that you hate the least.
Yeah, exactly.
Nick. So after I proposed this meal to Nick and we bought it and brought it back to the house, Nick then told me that he doesn't like sauce on his food generally.
You are aware that I don't like sauce on my food, right? I'm this kind of weird person who...
Yeah, you can stop that.
Yeah. No, I'm not a big fan of my food being cooked and then becoming wet.
Yeah.
You know?
That's how I liked how you characterized
Just in general, unless it is cooked in the sauce, because then the sauce is hot. This halal snack pack's fine because the sauce is the same temperature as the stuff that it's poured on. It's hot. Barbecue sauce, or at least it was warm, or maybe it was warmed up by the food.
Yeah.
Most of the time, it's not just the fact that my food is becoming wet. It's also I don't like the taste of ketchup. I don't like tomato sauce at all.
Oh, okay.
And most other sauces, it's the same. I'm just not a fan of mayonnaise. I'm not a fan of garlic aioli, that kind of shit.
So what day are you being deported?
Barbecue sauce is fine.
Okay.
I don't know what it is, but I like barbecue sauce.
I mean, it would be like if I had convinced you to go to an Italian restaurant and you said, oh yeah, by the way, I'm not a fan of garlic or ground beef.
I'll have garlic
or tomato or...
So garlic aioli, no. But garlic is fine. Garlic on like garlic bread or garlic in like a bolognese sauce or something. Because garlic's... I'm not just eating garlic.
No.
You know? Garlic aioli, on the other hand, is just... There's something about it I don't like.
That's fine. I mean, it's just the point is that the sauce plays like a major component in that particular food. And you're like, you know what? I'm not a fan of sauce. Like, okay.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it'd be like going to Nando's and ordering the chicken plain. It's like, what's the point of going to Nando's?
A little bit.
Yeah. Like Nando's, I'll always get the mild. I want to graduate to the hot, you know, but mild is my default because they cook it in the sauce. There's a difference between between that and just having ketchup and pouring it on your chips.
It's like, well, I'm going to get my driver's license, but I'm not a fan of going fast or sitting down or being in a box.
That's a really shit analogy.
It's perfect. Because...
No, it's not. You're saying that you can't enjoy chips without tomato sauce.
No, I'm not saying that.
Yeah, well,
I'm talking about halal snack packs.
Oh, the halal snack packs. Yeah. Well, yeah. Okay. I probably would enjoy it just fine without the sauce, but the sauce was good.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna add all the sauces I don't like to it just for the sake of that's how the meal is eaten or something.
Not necessarily, no.
Exactly. Like
I told you could have whatever you wanted.
Exactly, and I did. I wanted barbecue sauce, and I had it on barbecue sauce.
Yeah, and it was weird, and we can't be friends anymore because you didn't have sauce.
I did. I had barbecue sauce.
Not the. You didn't have the sauce that I wanted you to have.
You didn't have the sauce that I liked. What sauce did you have?
I had garlic and sweet chili.
Yeah. Sweet chili I'm indifferent to because I haven't had it before, but garlic aioli I don't like.
Well, you've had, sauce which is hot and sauce which is sweet. Now imagine those characteristics together in one wet.
In one wet.
Yes.
Yeah.
You can moisten all of your desired morsels.
But yeah, in general, especially when it comes to chips. Chips specifically, I prefer to just have with nothing on them.
Okay.
But
so I take it that if I put vinegar on your chips, you'd scream and shit your pants.
Aren't chips like cooked in vinegar?
No.
Oh.
They're cooked in oil.
Well, I mean, I don't even know what vinegar tastes like by itself.
Have you ever had vinegar?
Are you some kind of weird person who just drinks vinegar?
No, but I thought you could have said you was one of those weird people that has vinegar on their chips.
No.
I don't know. Salt and vinegar isn't a flavour of chip.
I don't like salt and vinegar chips.
Well, exactly.
Yeah. So if you poured vinegar on my McDonald's fries, I probably wouldn't like it.
And for these reasons, I'm sending you back to Ireland.
You can go eat your potatoes in Ireland.
You can go and live under the Blarney Stone.
The Blarney.
The Blarney. I don't know why, but I just like that is a name. Like it's a like.
My name's Ben de Blarney.
Oh, what kind of handbag is that? It's de Blarney. Wow.
De Blarney. Yeah.
Hiddle-dee-dee.
My name's de Blarney. But yeah, fast food. So yeah, halal snack pack. It's fast food and not like some weird cross between. It's not like Subway where it's like trying to be healthy but is still technically fast food. Because fast food is just food that is fast.
Yeah. What's the deal with fast food? I mean, I went to an In-N-Out the other day. Took night to wait for 10 minutes for my burger. What's the deal with that?
Yeah, I'd say that waiting in excess of 10 minutes, that's when it stops becoming fast food. So
okay,
Nando's
that's not what we had today then.
Nando's isn't fast food. I mean, the only reason we had our lunch after 10 minutes today is because we went off and did something.
Yeah.
But,
it's fast food in the sense that it's really bad for you, and that's what it's synonymous with.
Fast food doesn't always have to be bad for you, because, again, Subway is fast food. You watch it being prepared right in front of you. But you can get healthy options from Subway.
Yeah.
And it's not, defaultly bad for you. Most of the stuff in Subway is pretty good for you.
Yeah, well, I mean, I could make a sandwich at home in 2 minutes, but I wouldn't call that fast food.
No, but Subway, I would technically still call it fast food, because you get your food almost immediately as it's ordered, right? And Nando's is not fast food because you get it after 10 or so minutes after you've ordered it,
Yeah, well, I suppose it's also
but then I guess,
it opened with the intention to be a sit-down restaurant.
Exactly, yeah. So
did McDonald's.
Originally.
Yes.
And have you seen the movie The Founder?
No.
It's the movie about the founding of McDonald's. It's a really good movie, actually. And as a person who McDonald's is low tier for me. I really enjoyed that movie. It's a similar experience to the Social Network, where I despise Facebook, but the movie about Facebook is really good. So The Founder, it starts off as McDonald's is just your regular old burger restaurant. It's just this family-owned restaurant chain. And so this business guy has a burger from McDonald's. Is like, hey, this is really good. It's like, I think
Ray Kroc.
Yeah, it's one of the first restaurants to like you can order it, sit in your car, and they'll bring it out for you. And then I
feel that was like a 50s thing where you see like in Happy Days where they're parked and then the waitress comes out, she's got the tray,
but it's
and
one
they
of the
clip it onto the windows.
It's one of the earlier ones of that.
Right, yeah.
And but it was still like the food was still prepared in like 15 minutes. You know, it was like a burger that took forever to do. Yeah. And so the businessman helps the founders of McDonald's, the McDonald's brothers. He helps them like devise this way to make the kitchen like basically a human conveyor belt.
Yeah.
And it's like this really... It looked really cool the way they did it in the 50s. Now it's just a bunch of greasy... I mean, even back then it was a bunch of greasy-faced teenagers. But now it's just like... It's all very, very automated.
Yeah.
Whereas back then, even though it was a human conveyor belt, it still had humans making the food.
Yeah. Well, I suppose there's a difference between like a chef who specializes in burgers versus employment that is synonymous with like entry-level teenage work where kids just get abused and not paid much money.
Yeah. And the amount like back then the food, if it wasn't like if you ordered the food, that's the food they made. Nowadays they'll just have all the food like ready and then you order it and it's there for you basically before you've even ordered it.
Yeah.
Most of the time. Sometimes people will come in and order something specific that'll have to be cooked up in less time, in more time.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's funny because like, yeah, McDonald's is not high tier for me. I like the nuggets, but the chips are pretty mid and the McChickens are pretty lame. But the KFC is probably like top tier fast food for me.
Oh,
I really like KFC.
Okay.
And it's funny because KFC, like, I only ever hear bad stories, especially from America. But in general, like, I've had McDonald's in America, and McDonald's in America is way worse than McDonald's in Australia. So I think they have like even worse of a standard for fast food in America, or at least like the people who run the places do. Because at the very least, I think we have health codes.
Well, not to say that they don't in the States, but like, so I have heard that there are a couple chains that in Australia are, you know, perfectly passable, like Macca's or Subway.
Subway is like much better in Australia than it is in America, for example.
Yeah, I mean, I still wouldn't, I wouldn't say it's high art or anything, but it's, you know, perfectly fine if you want a sandwich.
Yeah, exactly.
But as far, like, I will agree with you that Macca's isn't, you know, I wouldn't say it's good food.
No.
However, I will quibble about KFC being considered anything better. Like, it might just be that KFC personally upsets me. But you have a very like weird digestive system though. You don't eat cheese. That's true.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I just don't like it.
Point and laugh at the weirdo. He lambasts me for not liking sauce, but he doesn't like cheese.
Yeah, but well,
you're not lactose intolerant, are you?
No.
No, exactly.
I like ice cream.
Exactly.
But if I have too much of it, then I'm in trouble. I mean, I'll milk is fine to be in things. It won't hurt me, but I don't like to just drink it.
Okay. Well, I mean, I can't remember the last time I drank just a glass of milk. So
no, I've never liked that. Same with cheese.
I could if I wanted to. I just don't. I prefer hot chocolate. Yeah.
That's because you're a man-child.
Because I didn't get addicted to coffee. Apparently, that makes me a child.
Yeah.
So I didn't form an unhealthy addiction to caffeine, and so that makes me like immature compared to other people.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because you don't.
I never got into coffee. I never liked the taste of it, and so I never got addicted to coffee. And so my morning wake up drink is hot chocolate.
Jesus. you wake with the Lord. You don't fall prey to earthly desires such as coffee. I don't fall prey to
Satan's drink.
I was going to say something like you dare not sup from the devil's ball bag or something like that.
You dare not sip from the devil's brown liquid.
You don't eat HSPs the way that I want you to. You don't drink the hot drink that I want you to drink.
Yeah.
You don't eat sauce.
The most amount of caffeine I consume is in Coca-Cola. And that's only if I'm having it with whiskey. Yeah.
Well, I don't like a lot of hard liquors.
I don't like. See. That's the thing. I'm not a fan of whiskey and Coke / Pepsi really by themselves.
Yeah.
But I like the combination of the two.
Well, that's fine.
I think. Like a whiskey and Coke is better than the sum of its parts.
No. So the sum of its parts would be the whole, wouldn't it?
No. The sum is
together. You sum.
Well, when you say something's better than the sum of its parts, doesn't that mean that the things together are better than them separate?
Like
I think that's what the saying means.
I get what your meaning is, that together it's better than either of them by themselves, but it's just
look it up.
The actual wording of what you've said confuses me. In that the sum seems to be like what you would get together if you combined them.
Yeah, see? The whole is greater than the sum of its parts. That's the...
Okay.
The sum is the equation, you know? So the sum of its parts, meaning the thing that comes after equals is better than the things that come before.
Together, the combination is better than the individual things that comprise the larger bit.
That's what that phrase means.
I don't know why it didn't catch on being said that way. It's much clearer.
The thing as a whole is better than the thing separately.
So if you put it together, as good, what is you know what is not as good is when you have one by itself and another thing, and you don't, and you keep them not together. That's less good than all of it.
Sun Tzu once said.
That is Topher Kirby.
Topher Grace?
No. Now, I think that there should be a fucking moratorium on people born Christopher referring to themselves as Topher.
Yeah.
I think that's a sin.
That's how we should have differentiated my brother and Chris Moss. We should have had one of them be Chris and the other be Topher.
Can I just start calling your brother Topher?
Yeah, see what happens if next time you meet him you just say, "What's up, Topher?"
I mean, I'm usually either referring to him as
Jimin. You just meet a Ben, so we have you as Ben, and we meet another guy called Ben, and we just call him Jimin.
Yeah. Just, what about The Jam?
Nah.
No?
We have.
Do you think Paul Weller would get upset?
There's 3 Bens. There's Ben, Jam, and In.
I'm in.
Jam in Ben. That's your porn film.
No.
Yes.
No, I don't want to.
So yeah, why don't you like KFC as much as I do?
I don't know. It upsets my intestines. Like I think that they're both but both Macca's and KFC are just
well. See, the thing is, like, I don't get intestinal troubles in general. But, like, definitely not from fast food. Like, I get some people... it's probably the grease, specifically. Like, the grease is definitely probably the worst part of fast food.
Yeah.
And so that's probably the stuff that gives people the rumblies most. But I seem to have an immune system.
Great. I'm really proud of you for having acquired one.
Yeah, and so like I don't get upset by food a lot. I've never gotten food poisoning before. Most of the time, if food disagrees with me, it's just because I don't like the way it tastes.
I just get like a little Danny Zuko living inside of me, punching my guts.
Exactly. I very rarely get like the runs, and most of the time, if I do, it's caused by like a cold.
Yeah.
You know?
I'm absolutely going to end up in like agony later for having consumed all of that.
Well, see, like I had Taco Bell for the first time, so I'm going to make 2021 the year of like trying new things.
Yeah,
I want to try a Carl's Jr. burger as well.
Well, we don't have that in Australia, do we?
We do.
Where?
There's one in Cranbourne.
No,
there is. And
how long's it been there?
Like 2 years. Yeah,
well, and no one told me about
Taco Bell's pretty new to Australia as well. Literally the closest one to us is in Hawthorne.
Have you had Guzman?
I've had nachos from Guzman before.
Okay, well, I like the burritos from Guzman.
Exactly, I want to try a burrito from Guzman. I've never had a Whopper. I'm 20. I'm almost 23, and I've never had a Whopper or a Big Mac.
I'll tell you what.
And even though they're probably not going to be good for me, I do want to give them a go.
Yeah.
You know? And next time the McRib comes around, I'm going to try that out.
Well, yeah, it was in Macca's recently. I don't know if it's still there or if it's gone.
No, it wasn't. It was back in, like, December, I think.
All right, well, don't hold your breath. It'll probably be a bit till it comes
It'll be
back.
like another 3 years, I think.
But, so I was at Michael's, and he was like, oh, dude, we'll get Macca's. I think we'd already had tea, but he was like, yeah, look, we'll get Macca's.
Yeah.
So I was at Michael's, and we're going to order these burgers, and you'd get, like 2 large burgers and 2 small burgers, and then, chips. And I hadn't had, a Big Mac before. I hadn't had any of the burgers from Macca's before because normally, because burgers got cheese and I don't want to bother with that.
Yeah, well, the only burgers I've ever had is McChicken.
So I had a Big Mac and I had one of their hamburgers, which is, just a tiny squashed bun
like
with a
the
bit
cheeseburger?
No, it's that. So it's a tiny squashed bun with a beef patty in it and then like some sauce.
Okay.
Did
you get it without the cheese?
Well, it didn't have. Well, that one didn't have any in it.
Oh, okay.
The cheeseburger does, as implied by
yeah.
the Big Mac did, but Michael just picked it out.
Yeah.
And that was the first and last time that I will have had burgers from Macca's because they were terrible.
I'm fine with just like having the Big Mac once and then never having it again.
It was awful. It was slop.
Yeah, exactly. Like I've had chicken, like chicken burgers is like my default. I'm still fairly new to beef burgers.
Yeah.
Like beef burgers have been introduced into my life a couple years ago.
Yeah.
And I like them. But yeah, they're not something that especially when it comes to restaurants, like I still default to the chicken burgers and stuff.
Well, that's fair.
Yeah. And so, like if I ever go to McDonald's, like we should definitely, I don't know, just eat out and like just not just default to the same stuff that I get every time I go out.
Yeah.
So like I tried something new the other day. So on Sunday, you were invited, but you had to not come because of your family stuff.
To see Uncle Leo.
We were gonna go. We went to the Astor, the beautiful theater in St Kilda, and we saw the original Star Wars trilogy in 35mm. I'll talk about that later because I want to talk about the food since we're on the topic of food.
Okay.
We went to Taco Bell. There's one on Chapel Street, and it's pretty nice, especially considering how quickly the food came out.
Right.
So I guess maybe because of the fact that there was like 10 other people in the restaurant, so they weren't very busy. So the food probably came out quicker than maybe it would have if they were busy. But I just got a quesadilla.
Yeah.
Which is it's a tortilla with chicken, cheese, lettuce, and jalapeno sauce.
Yep.
And it was delicious.
Oh, good.
It was really nice, spicy, but like the good kind of spicy.
Yeah.
It's not the kind of spicy where it just burns you and doesn't taste like anything. It's this kind of spicy that tastes nice, like mild Nando's.
Yeah.
And it was nice, yeah. And the best thing about Taco Bell is they offer free refills as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And so, yeah, Taco Bell was really nice. I actually am really glad we went there. But it's funny because I only ever hear bad stuff about Taco Bell from Americans.
Yeah.
Because they always talk about, like, oh, me after I have Taco Bell, and then it's a video of a guy shitting all over the wall or something.
Well, I thought that was mostly like a play on, it's spicy, it's full of beans, so it'll loosen you up.
So that's probably the thing. But I think maybe because I just had a quesadilla and not like a big burrito or a huge minced taco or whatever, that I didn't know when the Taco Bell came out the other side because it didn't feel spicy.
Didn't even feel it.
Sometimes you have really spicy food and you can feel it. You know that's what you ate, going out the other
I shat right in my pants and I didn't know until later.
Yeah, well, like that New Year's Eve 2020, as in New Year's Eve 2019, New Year's Day 2020, when we watched Razorback. It was just you and me here, and we had 2 pizzas to ourselves.
You have a spicy ring?
Exactly. I had a spicy ring. Both times I shat the next day.
Yeah.
And
I've had that on Michael's a few times because we get like spicy gummy.
Yeah.
And it was just misery. I can't fathom how
pizza was very spicy. Spicier than what I'm normally pretty like used to.
Yeah.
I still ate it and it was delicious. But it's because their pepperoni pizza at Bostini
is
It's just a normal pepperoni pizza, but they added like chili to it.
Okay, so it wasn't like spicy pepperoni.
Well, I think it was spicy pepperoni,
Okay.
but also chilies.
Right.
You know, and chili seeds and stuff. So it was delicious. But I've never had that pizza again.
Well, I think that when
My default now for Boston is just the New Yorker, but without egg.
Yeah, well, I think that what we got is that we got a pepperoni and we got like a Mexicana.
I think you ate the Mexicana.
Yeah.
I had the pepperoni.
Because I think that one, the Mexicana definitely had, chilies on it.
Yeah.
I don't know if you had a bit of it or...
I don't think I did.
No.
I think we both ate the entireties of our own pizzas.
Oh, okay.
We had half of it for dinner that night, and then the other half for breakfast/lunch the next day.
Yes. As is tradition.
Yeah. Well, I think it'll be a fun tradition to just do that New Year's Eve, just you and me, and 2 pizzas and a movie.
Yeah.
Although last time we also watched Jojo's Bizarre Adventure, which we continued today.
Yes.
It's been like almost 2 months since we last watched Jojo's. But I think it's fine to have a long break between parts.
Yes.
Maybe not necessarily. We probably should definitely shorten the break between today's viewing and next viewing because they're both part 2.
Right.
But yeah, are you enjoying Jojo's Bizarre Adventure?
I mean, I'm definitely enjoying elements of it because I'm still getting a lot of joy out of hearing the new names of characters as they get introduced to me. And also, the action is really good because it's just balls to the wall ridiculous.
Yeah, it's not... But yeah, I think what I love about it is that it's not just... Like... It's not just wacky action. It's wacky action with a level of, like characters playing chess with each other. Their fights are like them trying to outsmart each other. Almost every fight is built around that.
Yeah.
And it's like the fights themselves, if played in real time, would probably be about a minute long. But because they're constantly playing their thoughts to the audience and they're constantly outsmarting each other and relaying their plans, and then they have the reactions of the people watching the fight, they extend to being like 10 to 20 minutes long for a whole fight scene.
Well, of course, and because it's not constrained to within any concerns of reality, they can get very creative about what actually happens.
Exactly.
Because it doesn't even make sense just for it to be, I punch. It's always like, I tied a figure 8 around you and I used my Harmon abilities to shock you, and then I flung you into the atmosphere and because of course you're secretly weak to the cold vacuum of space, and now I'm gonna pull off your ears and and make dice out of them. And if I get snake eyes, then your balls will blow up.
It's funny how you almost predicted parts of the series just then in making up random shit. That's how crazy this show gets. And I love it. That's what I love about JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, is just the absolute crazy creativity of it all. And I really want to get into actually reading the show. Reading the manga, I mean. Because the artwork is beautiful.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Does he...
He gets way better as he progresses. I'm interested to see what the next anime shows, because the show also, the art style just gets much more nice to look at. I think it's just also the characters are just pretty as well. He likes to draw his characters to be attractive.
Some of them. I mean, some of the characters that show up are
specifically
grotesque.
Good guy characters. I mean, but as the show progresses, the characters get more and more looking like fashion models. I mean, so even bad guys tend to be pretty.
Yeah.
But some of them are still fairly ugly because they have to make the villains kind of ugly looking somehow.
Well, Dio was suave and chiseled.
Dio's handsome, and that's, I think, part of what makes him an interesting villain. I mean, the Pillar Men. They're hot. Most of the main villains tend to be pretty...
The guy with the drill in the middle of his head and razor dreadlocks. Yeah, I'd fuck that.
Yeah. Most of the main villains tend to be fairly attractive.
Yeah.
But it's the underlings that kind of... And the minions and stuff that kind of get... he just goes out of his way to make them look ugly. And I think it's also because sometimes the minions and the underlings and stuff are more depraved as well.
Yeah.
That there are characters in Part 4 that are considerably more depraved than the main character, who is a serial killer with a hand fetish.
Right.
Like, the main character, the main villain is a serial killer who preys on women and keeps their hands as a trophy and like, acts like the hand is his girlfriend because he's a freak.
Delicious.
And he is still drawn as this, like, David Bowie-ass motherfucker, right?
Yeah.
And he's also incredibly smart, and that's, like, one of the main things with Jojo is that the characters aren't just punch. You know, they're very smart. They use their... And that's also comes down to the writer, Hirohiko Araki, being very creative in the way he implements characters' powers, right? Like, a character can have maybe 3 instances in which their stand comes out. But each 3, they showcase a vast array of different abilities tied to their main ability. Like, Spice Girl. She appears, I think, 3 times in all of Part 5. And yet, every time we get this versatile use of her ability, which is just making things soft.
Yeah.
Right? And that's, I think, one part of the reasons why I love the addition of stands is just how creative and wacky the fight scenes get because of the versatility of the weird powers he comes up with. It's like superheroes.
Yeah.
Like, it's like X-Men, but with even more bizarre and specific powers. Because X-Men, you get, like... They're at that point where they're really reaching the bottom of the barrel to find new abilities. But, like, Hirohiko Araki is bringing this shit out his ass, and it still sticks.
Yeah.
It's still cool and creative. Because he doesn't, like, limit the abilities by biology or science or whatever. He just goes full out and say, oh, this guy can put zippers on things. This guy, he can swim through the ground. This guy, he can make a virus that kills everything around him.
Yeah.
And this guy can play back stuff that it never actually... Like, play back stuff like security cam footage, even if it didn't actually experience it. It can just, like, take the form of a person and then play back, like, what happened to them 10 hours ago or whatever, you know?
I mean, if there's a man who's got sticky shit coming out of his ass, it's Araki.
Yeah. Speaking of sticky shit coming out my ass, Taco Bell was very pleasant.
Great.
Well, speaking of sticky shit coming out my ass, yeah, like that time we had pepperoni pizza. And, like, pepperoni is my default pizza.
Yeah.
But yeah, we should do, like, after, like, eating more varieties of fast food, we should do, like, a fast food tier list or something.
Yeah?
Yeah, I reckon that'd be fun.
Well, we will have to get really clear on what counts as fast food and what doesn't.
Well, how about just a restaurant tier list? Because that way we can include more places that aren't just fast food. We can include things like Hog's Breath or La Poquera, even Nando's, because I wouldn't consider Nando's fast food. Like, I'd consider it like they do takeaway, but it's a restaurant, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean...
Same with, like, grilled, you know? Like,
Yeah.
they take long to make their burgers. And even if, like, with places that, like, tiptoe between being fast food and not fast food, like Subway, you know?
Yeah.
Because, like, Subway is food that is delivered fast, but it's not what you would consider what is normally considered fast food, you know?
Yeah. Like, yeah, to me, fast food is just synonymous with crap.
Yeah, but to me, fast food is what the words mean. Food that is made fast, right?
Well, that was originally the selling point, was, you know, it was really quick to just have a bunch of chips available and just give them to you.
Yeah.
Because you could do that. But it also it's hard to have food that is fresh and good and have that readily available.
Yeah, like, for example, with KFC, you've had the best of both worlds. You've had it when the chips are fresh out the fryer, and you've also had it where the chips have been in the little, like, thing that keeps them warm for like 10 minutes, and they're all soggy and they're not as nice.
Yeah.
Personally, I prefer chips somewhere in the middle. I prefer when they're like, they've been sitting for a couple minutes. They're not, like, fresh out, but they're not like like soggy and sad.
Yeah,
you know?
so I'm not sure if fast food is as much a category of food as it is a marketing technique that people that make crap use.
Yeah.
Because they go, oh, don't, it's not that healthy for you, but it's quick.
Yeah.
It's because you're so busy. You're such a business-oriented person. You haven't got time to make real food.
But I think fast food also has a worse connotation in places like America, I think, because of the fact that their food is of worse quality. Like, from experience. Because I've had KFC and Macca's and Burger King.
Yeah.
Burger King is awful. And this is coming from someone who's eaten Hungry Jack's. Hungry Jack's is probably like bottom tier currently. Because their chips are just boring. Their nuggets are boring. Their nuggets used to be great. They used to have the best nuggets.
Well, their nuggets were always really different to what Macca's was doing.
Exactly.
They were like breaded spicy.
Back when we were youngins, Hungry Jack's, which for anyone who's not American, Hungry Jack's is like the Australian Burger King.
Well, yeah, Burger King set up, and then they got sued by someone else who had a burger chain called Burger King in Australia, and so they changed the name to Hungry Jack's.
So Hungry Jack's is basically Australian Burger King, except I think they've kind of differentiated themselves now where they basically can be considered a different restaurant.
I've no idea.
Yeah. Is the Whopper a thing at Burger King? Yeah. Whopper's like an Aussie-sounding word, though.
Oh, so Whopper.
A Whopper. Anyway.
Well, what do they have? So, what's the one that's got the quarter pounder? Is that...
McDonald's has a quarter pounder. The quarter pounder is just a type of burger in America.
So it's the Royale with cheese.
Yeah. Quarter pounder is just a type of burger in America. I think most restaurants have a quarter pounder.
Because of the metric system.
Yeah.
Look at the big brain on Brad. Is that a big kahuna burger?
Oh, wow. Okay, so, like, the Burger King versus Hungry Jack's thing was only in, like, 2001, so that wasn't that long ago.
No way.
Yeah.
I mean...
Unless this was a completely different dispute. When was Hungry Jack's founded? Hungry Jack's was founded in 71. Okay, so this is a completely different thing.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway... yeah, Hungry Jack's, when we were young, Hungry Jack's used to have the best nuggets, I'd say. Like, out of the main, like, fast food places in Australia, I'd say Burger King had the best nuggets.
I don't know if they were my favourite, but I respected them for being different.
Well, okay, so personally, they were my favourite.
Okay.
I thought that they were the best nuggets. Whenever I wanted good chicken nuggets, Hungry Jack's was the place to go. McDonald's would probably be the second.
Yeah.
Then, I didn't really care about the nuggets from Red Rooster or KFC. Because with KFC, you don't go there for the nuggets. You go there for the popcorn chicken, right?
Sure.
Or...
unless they've got a good deal on.
When you're a kid, I mean. When you're a kid, I think it's... because, like, popcorn chicken is something KFC has that no other place has. So, why would you get the nuggets when they're not even as good as somewhere like the other places when you can go for the popcorn chicken, which is something that they don't have, and is also... probably, the parents would probably prefer you get the popcorn chicken because it's cheaper.
Is it?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Dad advice.
But yeah,
Uncle advice.
With Hungry Jack's nuggets, instead of just what they are now, which is just a sad copy of McDonald's nuggets, they used to be like, they looked like more chicken strips.
Well, yeah, I think they were breadcrumbed.
Yeah, they were breadcrumbed. They were longer. They were like things that were darker as well, which is I think because of the crumbing.
And they were heavily seasoned. I thought they were seasoned, spicy.
Yeah, exactly. They were hot. They were spicy. They were much nicer. Now I think Hungry Jack's is probably, of the main places, they're probably the ones with the most seasoned nuggets. But KFC, McDonald's, I think, has the nicest, just because of like the crunch.
If they're fresh, they're very good.
Yeah,
because they're crispy, crunchy.
Yeah, exactly. Like the crunch is what you go for. That's the thing. So you go to KFC for seasoned chicken, and McDonald's when it's fresh for crunchy chicken.
Yeah.
And I think it's because they go for more tempura batting. Yeah, battering.
I think that both KFC and
both of them
Macca's do a tempura.
Whereas I think Hungry Jack's is still kind of crumbed, even though it's trying to copy McDonald's tempura batter.
Well, KFC nuggets, and Red Rooster is squishy.
Red Rooster is just boring crumbed nuggets.
I think the only thing I've ever gotten from Red Rooster has just been chips, because I'm not.
Red Rooster has pretty nice chips though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll agree.
Yeah.
I'll allow that.
Yeah, Nando's has the best chips though.
Well, yeah, I like
KFC
the
also.
peri salt.
So if we're just going chips, so this would be my ranking of like chips from like restaurants / places. So it'd be like because I've had chips from a lot of places that I haven't had burgers and chicken from. Right?
This is a man who's had chips from every corner
but
of the globe.
you know what I mean? Like all of the places I've been to, I've had the chips, whereas I haven't always had the burgers and I haven't always had the things that they're known for.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So like I'd go like Nando's, KFC, Hog's Breath, Red Rooster, McDonald's, Hungry Jack's, Subway. Subway has awful chips.
I don't know if I've ever. Maybe I have had chips from Subway, but I think I've just considered it an illegal move. It's like, this place has got lettuce.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not
They're
gonna.
barely chips. It's like sliced potato.
I think you may have just like redefined, or you've just re-described what a chip is.
The difference between a chip and just a piece of potato is the way that it's fried and the fact that it's salted. Mm-hmm. Subway, in a weird controversial move, does not salt their chips. You have to put the salt on yourself. Because the salt and the pepper, they have them on their like tables and stuff, and they have some like at the end of the thing.
Yeah.
In case you want to put extra salt on your food.
So if it's unhealthy, that's your fault.
Yeah, but like they're not chips. They're not chips without salt. I much prefer potato with salt on it than without, and that's where most of the salt intake in my life comes from is chips.
Salt not on chips. That's just not cricket.
Is that a reference to something?
Yeah, that's just like an old phrase. Like if something's not like if that's not on,
It's not cricket.
It's just not cricket.
Okay.
That's because it'd be like if you're watching cricket and they do something that is not in the spirit of the game. Like there was this famous example where Australia were playing New Zealand, and if New Zealand got X amount of runs, which they were just about bound to get, then they would win. But if they didn't, then they would draw with Australia.
Okay.
And so what happened is the bowler underarmed it. He rolled it along the pitch towards the batsman.
Oh my god.
And that was considered a really dirty, shameful move. It wasn't against the rules, but it was not in the spirit of the game.
Yeah.
And so that is just not cricket.
Not sportsmanlike.
It would be, it's unsportsmanlike.
Yeah, like piffing the ball at the batsman's face.
I think that is actually something you can't do.
Okay.
I think that you have to bowl it in some way, and an overarm toss, I think, is not allowed.
Yeah. Or what if you deliberately arced it so that when it bounced, because I think you have to bounce it, don't you?
Yeah.
It's not like baseball where you throw it directly.
You
at
don't.
them.
Yeah, you don't throw it
With
at
cricket,
the batsman.
I think you have to bounce it. I think it has to, at least it has to touch the ground at least once. So you could arc it directly so that it bounces and goes a lot higher and hits the guy in the face. But that would also just not be. That's not on.
You could possibly get told off for that. I think that if you did something that was going to be injurious to the batsman, that would get you in trouble.
Yeah.
It's just not cricket.
Yeah. I don't know enough about cricket to make this a lengthy conversation.
Neither do I, but the thing is, there's not enough people watching this for there to be a cricket expert in the comments.
How do you know there isn't just randomly some cricket guy gets on this, I put cricket in the tags, and then some cricket guy's oh, this isn't cricket, I'm going to listen to this. Oh, it's just some idiots talking about fast food and shitting.
So it's comedy, podcasts, uncles, Don Bradman.
Yeah. I'll just put 50 different cricket related tags in the video.
Ricky Ponting.
We only talk about cricket for about 5 minutes.
Adam Gilchrist.
If that. So let's.
Does Kevin watch cricket?
I don't think so.
Well, then we're in no danger.
Yeah.
And now the uncles will talk about something else.
Okay. When was the last time that someone read to you?
Wrote?
Read.
Someone
read to you.
Like a book?
Like the colour.
Like angry?
No, like a book.
No, yeah. When you say
READ.
when you say read to you, like
Someone
someone
spoke text to you from a...
Like, yeah, deliberately from a book, because,
Yeah.
like, yeah, I mean, people, like, they will read texts to you, or they'll read memes.
No, yeah, like a book.
Okay, deliberately a book, and audiobooks don't count?
You have to, as in, like, someone
Okay,
who you know.
So the question is, when was the last time that you and a person were in a room together?
Not even in a room together. Someone read to you. Someone that you know read to you.
Does it have to be a book? Could it be a script? Because script readings happen quite often with me.
Well, I think that's under the context of work. I mean,
Okay.
as like a recreational activity, someone read
When
to
I
you.
was a child, probably. One of
Okay.
my parents, like, reading books to me. What about you?
Very recently, and I think this is something that should come back. It's part of why audiobooks are good.
Yeah.
Because it's just a different experience hearing someone else read to you, and it's for most adults. It's not something that's happened in a very long time.
It's probably also one of the reasons why Reddit read videos became popular. Especially Reddit read videos that are done by singular people and not groups like Soothouse. So someone like Sorrow TV. But also, people who read books for YouTube, people who read like creepypasta, people who read that kind of stuff, having especially a soothing voice is very pleasant. And I guess that's probably the reason why creepypasta read videos are so popular, is because people want that barrier of not having to read it themselves.
Sure. Well, I think that a lot of like the Reddit read things, I think that that's a lot about empathy. I think that seeing another person's reaction to a thing is gratifying and helps instill the emotion that it's meant to. It's funnier if you see someone else crack up at it.
Yeah, it's not just their reaction, but also having it read out.
Yeah.
There's a like extra level of. Sometimes it can literally just be them reading it out. Sometimes they'll add like voices. They'll make it funny.
Yeah. Like, I'm not so much amused by what Carl Pilkington says, but I am very amused
by his reaction.
by how pleased Ricky and Steve get.
I think that's half of what Game Grumps is half of it is being amused by Aaron.
Yeah.
And then the other half is being amused by Danny's reaction to Aaron.
Yeah. Just Aaron just being an absolute force of chaos, and Danny watching him like a disappointed parent. Like, it's just...
or just like a bewildered bystander.
Yeah. But I
mean, that's what this podcast is. Half of it is just is us being stupid and the other person's reaction to it.
Yeah.
And the other half is like semi-serious conversations.
More like semi...
Penis.
You did it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I recently had the first chapter of The Hobbit read to me, and it was good.
By who?
By a friend of mine who lives in Ohio, and she's reading it to her children.
Oh, okay. The Hobbit, like the
J.R. Tolkien.
the original, like the full. It's like one book, isn't it? The original Hobbit.
Yeah. So I think that it's the precursor to the Lord of the Rings, because it's about Bilbo.
Lord of the Rings is a trilogy, but the Hobbit's just one book, I think.
Yes. Well, so look, all I know is it's Bilbo, and
how far did you get into it? Have you seen the movies? The Hobbit movies?
I haven't seen the movies.
Have you seen the Lord of the Rings movies?
Nope.
You're 23 and you haven't seen the Lord of the Rings movies.
Yeah.
I mean, that's. I mean, yeah. I don't know why I still get surprised by that kind of stuff.
I had to show Star Wars to Michael.
Yeah, exactly. When I went to see Star Wars at the Astor on Sunday, it was Jesse's first time ever seeing a Star Wars movie.
That's a lot of Star Wars in one day.
But she enjoyed it, which is good.
Yeah.
That's the best thing, is when you take someone to see something they haven't seen before, and you have seen, and you like it, and you're worried that they might not like it. That was that was me when I was taking everyone to see Akira. Like, I had no idea if anyone would even like it, because I think most of the people who came to see it hadn't seen it before. I hadn't.
I hadn't.
You hadn't. I know, like, I think literally the only people who had seen it out of our group was me and my brother. I'm pretty sure everyone else hadn't seen it before.
It was a name that I recognized, so I assumed
I'd
that it
probably
was
talked
like
about
a
it before
classic.
as well. But did you like Akira?
I did.
Yeah, it was cool, wasn't it?
Visually, it was really pleasing to look at. And it was made in, like, what, the 80s, wasn't it?
88.
Yeah, so it looked great, and there was always something happening that was still engaging, even though it was a very long film.
2 hours is long for an animated film.
Yeah, but I don't think... There were definitely points where I was confused, but I don't think there was a point where I was going, I hope this movie finishes now.
Yeah. No, I mean, I was definitely confused the first time I watched Akira as well. This is probably the 5th or 6th time I've seen it now. It's
The last, like,
one of
40
my-
minutes, I had no idea what was
Yeah,
going
it's
on.
one of my favorite films. Animated or non-animated. Yeah.
Even better
And
than
it comes
Shrek.
from a period of time where Japan was just throwing money at entertainment. The 80s and like early 90s is like peak of anime because Japan was in like this huge economic boom. And so they were throwing money at entertainment, which is why a lot of the best Japanese films, like live action, a lot of their most like inventive and bizarre films often come from the 90s.
When did House come out?
House came out in the 70s, but in general, Japanese cinema is pretty bizarre and creative.
Yeah.
But it was bizarre, creative, and had bigger budgets.
Yeah.
And so, and then also that boom in creative cinema also created the boom in direct-to-video cinema, which is a lot more popular in Japan than it is in any other country. It's like its own industry. Direct-to-video cinema in Japan is not frowned upon like it is in other countries.
I was going to say, because like direct-to-video here is a dirty word.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't good enough to put in the theater.
Exactly. But because Japan, it doesn't like only rely on cinema for its film industry and like film industry takebacks. Some movies will make billions of yen just like from DVD releases.
Yeah.
So sometimes they'll just skip the cinema release and go straight to video if they're like not big budget enough.
Yeah.
Which is not a dirty word in Japan. Some careers have taken off because of direct-to-video. Takashi Miike, who's one of the most celebrated Japanese directors, got his start in direct-to-video Yakuza films.
Right.
The Grudge franchise started with direct-to-video films.
So is this basically
did
how
The Ring.
cult films happen? Is, a couple people will find them
Exactly.
and love it and pass it around?
Exactly, and that's often what VHS was, I guess, in America, and I guess maybe to an extent Australia. I don't know. I wasn't around in the 80s.
Because isn't that basically like how the producers got big? Is like it was released in cinemas, people went and then there were a few home showings of important people that Mel Brooks that started going, holy shit, what is this?
Yeah.
And then people started watching.
Well, that's what happened with Eraser. Well, actually, no, that's not what happened with Eraserhead. Eraserhead got a boom through midnight screenings,
Right.
And heaps of people went and saw it because it was this like crazy new thing. So I guess an example of like heaps of horror movies became cult classics because of VHS.
Right.
VHS is like the reason why horror was so like prevalent in the 80s, because heaps of people would just like the cover art had to be great, right? And so VHS and a lot of movies are only available on VHS now. You know, there's this huge selection of unknown and cult classic films, more often than not horror films, that don't have any form other than VHS.
Yeah.
And they haven't had a transfer, they haven't been uploaded to the internet, there's just VHS copies, and that's it.
Is it because horror movies are notoriously low budget? Like anyone can make a horror movie for not much money.
Yeah.
And if you don't have the money to do a big budget, you probably don't have money for distribution.
Yeah.
So if you can at least get it on VHS and not the cinema, then some people might see it.
Exactly. Well, that's what video nasties are. Video nasties.
What's a video
A
nasty?
video nasty is a movie that is made on a low budget, is very gnarly and very like gruesome. Sometimes good movies come from video nasties. More often than not, they're literally just gore porn.
Right.
But video nasties are like, movies that were made and just distributed on a few VHS tapes. Maybe they get copied. and then more copies get sold out. But they basically just spread, and the only form of watching them is like you have to borrow it from someone or buy a copy on VHS because the internet didn't exist back then.
Yeah.
And video nasties often, were just gore porn. And so movies like the Guinea Pig franchise from Japan became pretty famous examples of a video nasty.
Do I want to know what that is?
The Guinea Pig franchise... Okay, so the first movie in the Guinea Pig franchise is called The Devil's Experiment. It's literally just 40 minutes of guys torturing a woman. It's just gore porn. It's
terrific.
Just torture porn. But the second one, which is pretty much the same as the first one, became notorious because Charlie Sheen thought it was real and called the FBI to investigate this tape. But it's fictional. It's just like... Apparently, nowadays it's considered just crap because the special effects aren't good anymore.
Right.
And it's just really funny. They're not at all pleasant to watch.
Did something similar happen with the Serbian film? Like, weren't people trying to work out whether that was real or...
Cannibal Holocaust. That happened with Cannibal Holocaust.
Right.
Cannibal Holocaust is it's touted, and I don't know why I'm saying it's touted as, because it is the first like found footage horror film,
right? Where
it's about like this like documentary film crew going to this savage tribe in very, very
deepest, darkest Peru.
I don't know.
To fuck Paddington.
I don't know if it was Peru. But deep, very, very deep jungle where it's, like people can barely make it to without dying.
Yeah.
And so they've got their film crew and they're making film, and it's just, carnage.
Yeah.
The director was arrested because they thought the movie was real.
This isn't Werner Herzog, is it?
No, the director was some Italian guy.
Oh, okay.
Ruggero Deodato.
Great.
But yeah, he was he's still alive. Cool. Yeah. He was arrested because they thought the movie was real.
Did they kill a turtle, or was that?
They did kill a turtle. There's a lot of real animal abuse that takes place in that movie. So it's a very controversial film.
Yeah.
But yeah, he had to produce he had to get the actors to come forth.
Yeah.
Just so he wouldn't go to jail for their murder.
Right.
It was and
well, because the police thought that they'd been killed on camera.
Yeah, because they thought that what happened on camera was real.
Right, but all these actors were alive.
They were all alive because it was fake. It's a movie. It was made to look real, but it's a movie.
Well, that's that's standing praise for a supposed snuff film. If people thought it was real, well done.
Yeah, but I mean, there is real violence on screen as well, specifically towards animals. But there is violence towards one tribal girl, but I don't think they kill her. They're just a bit rough with her.
They just abuse some native.
But I think it was more that it was a stunt like that. It was fake violence that accidentally became real. Not that they were deliberately going out to harm this person. Like, it's an actor that I think that... I'm not entirely sure. I haven't seen the movie. I haven't gone that deep into the production timeline of Cannibal Holocaust 1980.
Do we want to watch it? Or
I want to watch it someday, but I don't know if I'm ready just yet.
Right, well, let's not eat beforehand.
Yeah, definitely not. No, there's this list of just controversial films that are in my watch list, but
like Straczynski and the Magic House.
Like a Serbian film, or Human Centipede, which I think is mainly just gross rather than actually like disturbing.
It's poopy.
Yeah. Or Salo, or the 120 Days of Sodom, which is what it's called. I don't really want to really delve further than that, because most of the ones that get further than that, because like there's art, like a Serbian film, no matter how depraved it is art. There's art, and then there's like a pissing contest between amateur filmmakers trying to see how gross they can get. There's a Lucifer Valentine who has made his vomit gore trilogy.
Delicious.
Which is pretty much exactly what you think it is.
Is it like Hair Cake, but not as
Hair
fun?
Cake, but with like gore effects, and it's trying to be horror movies, and they're trying to be like Lynchian, but don't understand what makes a Lynch film good.
Who's the big lady that works with John Waters?
Divine. Well, John Waters, he made Pink Flamingos and Multiple Maniacs, which are considered gross films, but like still art. And it helps that John Waters is also a
nut.
a delightful person.
Okay.
He's eccentric, but he's often like talked about as being like America's gay uncle. I mean, he made Hairspray.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
and he's made like weird and very gay films, but I don't think
And
he's
friends
made
with
any.
Homer Simpson.
Yeah, I mean, Pink Flamingos is probably considered like his grossest film, and even
I'm
then,
filth.
it's nowhere near being considered a legitimate snuff film. You know.
I'm
Or being
disgusted.
confused for a legitimate snuff film.
Yeah.
It's just a movie that's gross.
Yeah.
Getting into the realm of gross cinema, the grossest I've seen is probably Takashi Miike's Gozu. And that's only because the last scene of the film features a woman giving birth to a full-grown man.
Oh. At the end of Threads, which is like a film about a potential nuclear holocaust in Sheffield, there's a woman that like gives birth to a stillborn. It's pretty fucking.
I mean, there's a
gnarly.
zombie baby in Dawn of the Dead.
I know, I've seen it.
Yeah.
I was gonna say it's not a real baby. Is
No,
it?
it's a CGI baby. I've delved into the world of like disturbing films, but I've never I've never gone further than watching like Takashi Miike films. He's one of my favorite directors, and like he's made some like horrifying horror movies, but he's also made some like legitimate he's Gozu, while disturbing and gross, is probably my favorite film from him because it's like just so unique, and it's got this atmosphere of like watching a nightmare on screen, but not the nightmare where shit's happening constantly, the nightmare where it's really slow but there's this constant feeling of dread. You know what I mean? Like most of the movie is pretty normal, like there's it's like uncanny, where the movie is mainly like half of the movie is just like this guy being a tourist in this small town, but the people around him are just kind of off. There's this weird fascination with breast milk in some scenes. There's a scene where he's visited by a person with a cow head who licks him, and it's gross. But then there's like this kind of funny scene where he goes to a shop, and the person talking to him, like the cashier, is this American woman reading her lines from the top, like it's written in English, like Ozu Koremajiwa, like just the syllables written out in English. But the thing is, like what she's saying is relevant to him. Like she's having a conversation with him and responding to him in Japanese, but she's reading everything she's saying from the wall. And
you can see it.
You can see it. There's a shot where it shows what she's saying. And it's this bizarre scene, and I fucking love it. It feels like something out of a David Lynch film. It's such a great scene. I love it.
Oh, you know what movie has probably like harmed me emotionally the most?
Yeah.
Killing of a Sacred Deer.
Killing of a Sacred Deer, yeah, that's definitely a disturbing film.
That whole film just, I don't like it.
That movie is on like a weird part of the spectrum where it's like it's accessible enough to be considered like kind of a mainstream horror movie, but it's also disturbing enough where like it's very hard to watch.
Yeah.
But it doesn't reach the same like kind of level as like Cannibal Holocaust and Solo and a Serbian film, you know?
Yeah.
I'd say it's like it's somewhere between there.
Yeah, I mean, because it's got Colin Farrell and Nicole Kidman in it, and it came out in cinemas, and it's like, oh, it's the guy who made, The Lobster.
Yeah.
So, like, okay, I can see that, but then it's also just really hard to sit through.
Yeah.
And,
It's an uncomfortable film.
Yeah, and of course, and everyone speaks the way that people do in a Yorgos film.
Yeah.
So that helps heighten the awkwardness.
Have you seen Dogtooth?
No, well, that one's in Greek, isn't it?
It's in Greek, but they still speak with the same kind of cadence.
Oh, okay.
But in Greek. I actually think Dogtooth is more uncomfortable than Killing of a Sacred Deer. Killing of a Sacred Deer is more disturbing than Dogtooth, but Dogtooth is far more uncomfortable to sit through than Killing of a Sacred Deer was, I think.
Oh, well, we should watch it.
We should. I'm looking forward to whatever his next film's going to be.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he's someone whose career I want to follow closely, because I like what he does.
Yeah.
But I want him to get weird with it again. Like, the Favourite was good, but it wasn't the same.
The Favourite
sort of
was
film.
good, but I think The Favourite was definitely his most mainstream film.
Completely, yeah.
And I'm not saying that as a bad thing. I think it's a fantastic film.
It's very good, but when you watch his films wanting them to be like some of his others,
Yeah.
and then you get one that's less so.
So I think the funny thing is, okay, so The Favourite is definitely his most accessible film, but when you compare it to other films of its ilk, it's definitely like off and strange and uncomfortable.
Of course.
Because when you compare it, so like without actually like watching the movie, you can just describe it as a prestige, like costume drama,
Sure.
like a prestige period piece costume drama.
Could you call it a dark comedy?
You could, exactly. You could call it a dark comedy, but just going off of the surface level, the film is a prestige period piece costume drama.
Yeah.
And then it would be considered in the same ilk as films like Barry Lyndon, Elizabeth,
The Boleyn Girl.
The Boleyn Girl, yeah, Pride and Prejudice, like Mary Queen of Scots. It's like those are all within that genre.
Yeah.
But The Favourite is just this like off-kilter, strange film that doesn't feel like anything else in that genre, you know?
No.
It's very unique.
Yeah.
And the fact that it was nominated for Best Picture, like, it's the weirdest film that got nominated that year.
Well, good. I'm glad that he's getting recognition that he deserves.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, it's like when, you know, Bong Joon-ho got his award.
Parasite, yeah.
Yeah.
And like Parasite, I think his best film is Memories of Murder. But Parasite is a phenomenal film.
So the dad who's in Parasite, isn't there a film that's coming out that's got him in it?
Well, like an American film or just a film?
I think it's Korean. I think that we were at a theater or
No.
sent me a trailer.
I think that was the trailer for Memories of Murder.
Oh, well, maybe that is.
Yeah,
what
because
you're
they
talking
were
about.
playing that at the Astor. Because there was like a recent like remaster of it.
Oh, so it's not a new film.
No. It came out in 2003.
Oh, right. Well.
It's his second film.
Oh, okay.
Memories of Murder is great. It's like if you like David Fincher's Zodiac, you'll really enjoy Bong Joon-ho's Memories of Murder. It got a recent like remaster and and I think a Blu-ray soon, maybe. There's going to be a Bong Joon-ho box set coming to JB Hi-Fi that includes his earlier films that didn't get released in Australia and like Blu-rays of movies that didn't get that only got DVD releases here.
Okay.
And then also his short films that had never been given a release.
Ah.
So I'm going to get that even though I already have 3 of the films in the collection. And I'll just sell the ones I've currently got. Because one of them is just the Blu-ray that I already have in my collection.
Yeah.
And then the other 2 I have on DVD. So I've got The Host and Mother on DVD. And this box set has those 2 in Blu-ray.
Isn't Mother, you know, that one with Javier Bardem and
Mother's just a word. There's like 5 movies called Mother.
Mother is a concept. Mother is an idea.
Mother's it's one of those names that there's like heaps of movies called Mother, you know.
Yes.
Bong Joon-ho, he made his movie Mother. There was another movie called Mother made in the 90s. There was Darren Aronofsky's movie called Mother that came out with Javier Bardem and Jennifer Lawrence.
There's the game made by Satoru Iwata, Mother.
Yeah.
And Earthbound and
yeah. It's just a word. There's plenty of movies that have the same titles because they're just words.
You know what else is a word? The end.
That's it for this episode.
So that was a fun episode about fast food and disturbing movies. You, person listening to this at home, I would love to hear your takes on those topics in the comment section below. What's your favorite fast food? Or what's your least favorite fast food? What's a horror story you've had from a fast food restaurant? And, or, what's the most disturbing movie you've seen?
And who's your favorite person from Ohio? And how many books do they read to you?
When was the last time you had a book read to you?
When was the last time Nick Owens burped into your microphone?
When was the last time you shat and farted your pants?
When was the last time you went to New York and piss and shit?
Yeah.
That's it for this episode of the Temporary Uncles podcast. Follow us at Tempuncles on Twitter and send funny emails to tempuncles@gmail.com. Goodbye, and I hope you don't get a painful rock in your shoe when you go outside.
Also, rest in peace, Daft Punk. I love the music. They've been a big part of my life, and it's sad to see them go.